I'm here because the aircraft configuration of the flight may need the fit of larger items. Again, these items are
We have arrived. We're in Amsterdam. It is a bit of a cloudy day, but it's all right. It just reminds me of June gloom, which is something that we have in Southern California, so I'm used to it. And I'm gonna go to Italy soon. It's gonna be really hot, so I'm enjoying this fresh weather. I have arrived to my hotel. Look at how cute it is. It's adorable, and I love this kind of sunroom thing. Apparently this is very typical in Dutch homes, and it lets all this wonderful light in. My room is ready early, which I love, so I'm gonna go shower and take you with me to the Rijksmuseum. Woo! Okay, here we are, arriving to the room. You know I love a room with a view, and here we have a view of the architecture of Amsterdam, maybe a school over there, and some beautiful gardens. Low key, so I'm from Southern California, and like it's like 60 degrees and cloudy. That's our winter weather. Like this is January in Long Beach for me. But this is summer. Apparently it's chilly today, but my Dutch friend said it's gonna be like 30 degrees, so warm, hot, and sunny. I don't know what 30 is, like 85 or something, but anyway, it'll be like proper summer tomorrow. But I'm leaving and heading to Italy, so this was just a little pit stop on the way. Okay, we're showered. It's time to go. I have gotten a lot of comments all over the world. They think it's really strange when people go outside with their hair wet, but it's 2 p.m. and the Rijksmuseum closes at 5 p.m. So I simply do not have time to blow dry my hair. So I'm going out. There is so much beautiful architecture. And as you can see, it's an incredibly clean city. People are over here taking care of the gardens. Not a bit of trash. It's very different from where I live in Los Angeles, California. I've seen some stuff online that the city has even done initiatives where they've taken streets that were formerly really congested with cars and turned them into bike-only streets. I think it really contributes to the lifestyle, the well-being that people experience living in the Netherlands. Okay, that's it. We have already arrived. The museum is right here. It's like literally less than 10 minutes. Here you can see some contemporary art, the Van Gogh Museum, and let's go to the Rijksmuseum. We are in search of some of the great artists of Dutch art history. Of course, the Rijksmuseum will have paintings by Rembrandt and Vermeer, probably two of the most well-known Dutch artists. I personally will be hunting down as many women painters that I can find. There are a lot of female painters during the Dutch Baroque period. Lots of women painted still lifes. And the reason women were primarily painting still lifes, not only, but this is sort of an area where they flourished, is because women were not allowed to enter the academy and study live nude drawing. And so they were sort of relegated to still life or landscape painting, which are things that you can paint, somewhat from observation. Since women were excluded from part of that academic training of figure drawing, they were less likely to paint figurative imagery. That doesn't mean they didn't. Okay. When I go to a museum, if I have a lot of time, I'll just start wandering around. But since I only have a couple hours, I will go to the information desk and kind of scope out where I want to head to. It's a huge museum. You could spend many days here. So let's go narrow it down. What I would say is the most popular era in Dutch art, what is known as the Dutch Golden Age, are the 1600s. So this is all on the second floor. This is where you will see your Vermeers, your Rembrandts, the big names of Dutch art history. And again, this is sort of the golden age of Dutch art. I'm gonna head to the highlights. First things first, And then if we have some more time, I'll go down and back and start in the Middle Ages. But let's go to see what we came to see first. Look at this beautiful hall. So let's go into the 1600s gallery. The 17th century is also known as a period of peak colonialism. And so you will see Dutch artists painting what they considered exotic tropical fruits. Here you can see some papaya, some pineapple, and some tropical flowers. There are also paintings that depict villages in Brazil. These are by Franz Jan's Post from the mid 17th century. Here we have a large-scale landscape, again depicting the Brazilian countryside. In the mid-17th century, the Dutch actually occupied parts of Brazil, so this is why we have so many paintings of Brazil in this era. Now, of course, remember that the Dutch Golden Age is the era of colonization. Here we see a portrait of Jan Vac. These Dutch names are so hard for me. Jan Valkenburg, and an enslaved man who is his servant. Traders brought enslaved people to Fort Elmina to human traffic African people to the Dutch West India Company. Of course, it's a pretty unpleasant topic, but it's really important to reckon with the colonial past, acknowledge the wrongs and injustices. This is like the first step of restorative justice. The Dutch Republic in the early 17th century is a newborn republic. They've just thrown off the control of the Spaniards, and they have done away with the aristocracy. They've also sort of done away with the typical patrons of the arts. And so, if there's no king to have his portrait painted, who can the artist turn to? So the artist turned to group portraiture. So these people would get together, pool their money, and have themselves painted. You know, it's really interesting to think about the way artworks are displayed in the museum and how that affects how we think about them. You know, this one is kind of framed. It's got this kind of Greek temple door. It's in its own room. There are choices that are made by the museum. They said they don't allow filming, but I want to finish my thought. The way the museum displays the artwork impacts how we think about what is considered important. Okay, I'm gonna look around. I might sneak a couple other videos, but the guard just told me that they don't allow filming here. Look at this really cool artist painter's box. There is one of those amazing Dutch Baroque still life paintings. This is really something that the Dutch are known for. You see all of these depictions of excess wealth. The night watch is under restoration, so we couldn't see it, but I will show you a view of how it looks with people working on it, which is pretty cool. The night watch is under restoration. The Dutch Golden Age is all about these stunning landscapes depicting pride in the newborn Dutch Republic. Yes, I was on a hunt to find this merry gentleman. This drinker shows an empty mug, his cheeks flushed red with alcohol, and he's just having a good time. Judith Leister was pretty much the only well-known female painter from Haarlem. Her work stylistically was similar to her fellow townsman Frans Hals, and in fact this painting was attributed to Frans Hals until the 19th century. Finally, I found her. Rachel Reich, still life with flowers in a glass vase, circa 1690-1720. Rachel Reich was one of the most famous female artists of her time. Her really lush still lifes were incredibly sought after. Remember that her father was a botanist, and so she grew up around plants, flowers, and little insects that her dad would have been studying. And she became so popular that she was eventually appointed as a court painter, and even following her marriage, during which she bore 10 children, she continued to paint, signing her name so as to not be forgotten or erased by the hands of time. Okay, we have rested after the museum, we have showered, we have made ourselves presentable. I speak in the royal we, of course. I'm gonna go to dinner with my friend Sue, who I haven't seen in 24 years. We were interns together at the Guggenheim Museum in Venice, Italy when I had just graduated from college. So anyway, let's go to dinner in Amsterdam. Okay, good night. See you in the morning. Good morning. My sleep is all messed up from the time change, the 9-hour time difference. But one of the things you got to do with jet lag is you got to get your ass up. Even if you're tired, push through and try to go to bed early the next day. I did not go to bed early last night because I was out with my friend, walking around Amsterdam, enjoying the evening. We had drinks and a meal, and I stayed up. Point is, try to get back on the time schedule of the city that you're in. I'm gonna go to breakfast, and I gotta go back to the Rijksmuseum because I forgot to see the historic condom. Let's go see the oldest condom, maybe? So my Dutch friend told me that when the architectural firm was remodeling, that they wanted to remove this passageway where bikes can go in and out, and the people of the city of Amsterdam protested so much that eventually the architectural firm backed down and changed their design. So power to the people. The city is not for tourists. The city is for living, and tourists and travelers like me are just lucky to be here. Remember, you are a guest in this country. This is a condom made of animal guts from 1830. The old ass condom. It's got a bit of a saucy illustration on it. It's good size, don't you think? So I just happened to be looking at it when a tour guide from the museum came up. She said it was just purchased last week. This is June 2025, or just added to the collection last week. She said that the condom was bought at auction for only 1,000 euro. That means I could have bought it. Why didn't I think of that? I guess they examined it and figured out that it was unused. It was probably a souvenir from a brothel. Also, she explained the illustration, which you can clearly see depicts a woman lifting up her skirt and 3 excited gentlemen looking at it. She said this was a nun, and the 3 excited men were priests. And underneath there's some writing in French that says, "Voila, this is my choice." Exciting concept for 1830, wouldn't you say? Okay, mission accomplished. I gotta go catch my plane now. And you're welcome.